you can't tell, I've been posting a lot lately to kind of force the algorithm to see me in this light. Um, but yeah, I just feel like the world is going through so much stuff right now. It's almost like dumb for me to just be like a dude talking about like Drake or something. You feel me? Like the world in the way that it is, I feel like it's almost like it's not irresponsible because people need entertainment no matter what type of world we're in and everything. But you know, bro, like America, there's a lot of stuff going down right now, and it's almost it does kind of feel irresponsible. I'll be real with you. I'll be real with you. Like, if I'm being honest, that's even why like I don't even really like fuck with people like Joe Budden and like Charlamagne the God and like all these guys anymore because it's like I don't know. They spent so much time like distracting you. You know what I mean? Like even with the whole Mark Lamont Hill thing, I'm not gonna go deep into that, but like there's no reason you should be on the show. And it's not necessarily like because, there's dumb black people and there's smart black. It's not like that. It's just simply because Joe Budden does not care about educating anybody or enlightening anyone in any sort of way. And in this world that we're in right now, it kind of seems almost wrong to not want to pitch in some sort of way. Like, bro, Mark Lamont Hill was talking about how his journalist friends died in Gaza, and they just like made some like dumb joke and like switched over. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about the Queen's Flip thing. It's not about none of that. It's just like all these dudes. I feel like they've spent so much time in hip hop pretending that they have integrity, shitting on certain artists and stuff, particularly Drake and stuff. I'm a Drake fan, but this is bigger than him. But it does kind of fit into that where it's like, lack of authenticity, oh, this nigga's weird. Oh, he doesn't care about the real and all this shit. And I'm gonna big up Most Def, but I'm gonna shit on him. And it's like, bro, in this situation, you're the Drake. Do you see what I mean? Like all of you guys lack complete authenticity. You have none of it, like in any way. And in fact, it's almost worse because musical artists are musical artists. That's whatever. But at the same time, like you're an actual human being talking directly into a microphone with no beats, no breaks. You know what I mean? And kind of proposing as if you are this real person, this real human being, right? That is here to kind of guide people. And yes, it is entertainment. It's full on entertainment. But it's like, bro, exactly. They're all drama club performance dancers. And these people are ridiculous, bro. And it's like, I'm not even trying to cap for Drake or nothing like that. He's whatever. He's kind of washed to me. I don't really mess with him like that no more. I still like his music, whatever. But I just see the hypocrisy in saying certain things about somebody who you say lacks authenticity and then you're completely and utterly unauthentic. There's just something so gross about that, bro. And the way they manipulate people, man, it's just gross, man. Hello, Burhan. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Shout out to Google Rewrites History as well too. Stay woke out there. I could tell from the title, from the name. I'm like, all right, this person gets it, man. You know, and yeah, bro, like that's just my thing. I feel like that's just really starting to like irritate me, especially in the hip hop space. I feel like a lot of these rappers that wanted to come at other rappers, right? For their lack of giving knowledge to the youth now have podcasts and they're not giving any knowledge to the youth. The topic, hey, Ace Boogie, what's up, man? The topic of my conversation is the larger thing is going to be about Canal Street and, ICE and everything like that. But right now, I'm kind of, I'm a performer, okay? You need a dramatic arc. You need a rising action, right? And a falling action. I'm starting with the rising action and talking about the lack of authenticity with podcasters and media personalities right now. That's kind of where I'm at, and I'm kind of talking about my transition from hip hop media to kind of doing this travel blog, political, I'm outside of America while commenting on America kind of position that I'm doing right now. And hello, the Sawani Bros. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. And but that's really my issue right now is I feel like there's just so many people who, especially in the hip hop space, pride themselves on this realness, this authenticity, and how I really rap and these niggas is dumb and they just want you to be dumb. And then they make their own TV shows to make you dumb. Half the people they mess with are like extreme capitalists who believe in no sort of social programs at all. And we can really start digging into, and I've said this before in past videos, which I feel like people have overlooked, about how the Black American population, when I say Black American population, I don't just mean FBA, like foundational Black Americans. I also just mean anyone who is born and raised in America as a Black person. Um, we are the great capitalist experiment, right? So it did start with FBA people, right, being brought to America from Africa, right, coming through slavery, just like a lot of us did in the Caribbean and everything too. But the difference then is they're living in this apartheid state this entire time, right? And then once slavery was done, they just kind of let them go with no real sort of safety net and no real sort of understanding about how the world works because they prevented them from learning anything. You'd be beaten to death for reading. You know what I mean? And you think about how many different times, right, the government in all different eras have provided for tons of other populations of people, except for Black people and specifically Black Americans, like Black Americans from slavery. You know what I mean? And that was all done in a conscious sense, not just because they hated Black people. They did 100%. They did. But I also think it was a little bit of a capitalistic experiment in the sense of let's see how insidious our teachings can actually be. You feel me? Like if we have these people in captivity, then we release them with no education whatsoever, then we call them lazy and we demonize them over and over and over. You know what I mean? Give them no safety programs, but then also, anytime they do anything wrong, we hold them way more accountable than we hold anybody else, right? We get them to hate their fellow man because they have no way to survive. And then we'll judge them for finding any way to survive out of their lack of survival. And that is what breeds this type of stuff in this podcasting space. I know it sounds funny. I know it sounds dumb to think slave read to Joe Budden, but it's true, bro. It's true. This is where this psyche comes from of like, oh, that nigga broke, so I don't really fuck with him like that. No, we shouldn't be helping, bro. It's about me and mines, bro. It's about me and mines. When they released Black people from captivity, their thought was to create the most financially dependent race of people on the earth with no way of creating their own financial independence. And they did this deliberately in every step of the way. And I feel like there's just no other way you can fucking see it. If you don't see that, you're blind. And now we've gotten so deep into it that it's gone absolutely crazy. It's gone absolutely crazy, bro. There's so many of us who actively act against our own well-being because we don't want to be seen as somebody who doesn't have enough. I was talking about this in one of my videos in Berlin because I just shot a video doing doing the comedy scene in Berlin. Please check that out. It's called doing comedy in the most serious country in the world. Absolutely, it was a fun place, great job. But one of the things I talked about, the difference between Europe and America, is that nobody's flexing in Europe. Not really. You know what I mean? And like, there's nobody pretending they have way more than they actually have. And I'm not saying that they revel in the fact of being broke as fuck. It's not true. They just are honest about what they have and what they don't have. And in America, there's a large population of people like that as well too, who are very honest about what they have and don't have, and they want more from the government. But there's a whole other subsection that might honestly be the majority that is brainwashed almost into having this very massive ego. Exactly, Google. Having this very massive ego where it's like, You're broke, but you don't want to admit that you're broke. So you're gonna just sit around and playing shit all day. You feel me? All we have to do is hold the government accountable in solidarity, and a lot of these things would change. But yet we don't, because nobody wants to admit that they don't have enough in the first place. And so we're stuck in this paradigm. And it used to be only white people who were in that paradigm. You feel me? And a subsection of, other races or whatever. But I feel like over the last like 100 years, it has just greatly changed with black people. It's really cultivating, and it's completely sad, bro. And it just drives me nuts. And it brings me to this whole thought of this whole Canal Street ice raid shit, man, and how that's going. You know, um, yeah. Ace Boogie says, yeah, rappers is a sad side of the black community, showing how they lack in every aspect they hold to the slave era as it's still current. They show no interest in growth. I agree and I disagree. I feel like rap and hip hop in general is just an art form, right? So there's good parts and there's bad parts of it. For every money bag there's a Pharaoh Monch, right? So there's always that. For every ludicrous, there's a little brother, right? But I'm talking about deeper than just you know, hip hop, because that's what I'm saying. Like all these podcasters, they're calling out these rappers, but yet they're doing the same thing. It's deeper than hip hop. It's in part of like what our race is doing, and how I feel like a lot of black people almost want to. They don't want to create equality. They just want to be on the other side of oppression. And I think that truly is a death sentence for all of us. And I know I'm losing some people on this live. It's a fact. But I don't care. I'm gonna keep going in because this shit it drives me crazy, man.